Hello, and welcome to the next review on Foos Entertainment. And this time around, we will be reviewing Friday the 13th Part 2, my limited edition steelbook set. Or should I say tin can with digibook inside, whatever you want to call it. Friday the 13th Part 2. I'll be the first to say this is one of my favorite ones in the franchise. Why? Well, let's explain. I like Friday the 13th Part 2 because it stands out from all the others. Stands out from all the others because it actually does not have a hockey mask in it. So Jason is not wearing a hockey mask in this movie. It is the first film to actually have Jason as the villain. He wears a potato sack on his head. And I thought that it captured the shock value of the first movie while expanding much further on it than the first film did. I really liked how he really does a whole lot in this movie. And the kills are very innovative in this film. I definitely enjoy the innovation that they put into the famous kills. Like there's one that I thought was very interesting. While two of our camp counselors are having an orgasm, he takes a arrow and sticks it through both, literally for both of the victims. It's like a double kill, shish kebab thing or something. I really like that. That was really interesting. And also, very early, the first Friday the 13th film that has Jason Voorhees is the killer in it. It shows he has no mercy. He don't care at all about disability or gender or anything. Like there's this guy who was in a wheelchair due to a motorcycle accident. He's about to get laid, I might add, by a very sexy woman. Jason don't care. He takes a machete and right through his head. Which just shows Jason does not care. You gotta love that. He has no mercy. Now let's go on to the premise of the movie. Despite it being released in 1981, 1 year after the first Friday the 13th movie, about 96-97% of the movie takes place 5 years after the events of Friday the 13th Part 1. To be told, 5 years in 3 months, to be more precise and direct. The film picks up 3 months after the events of Friday the 13th Part 1, in which our heroine, give me a second here, he wants some attention, I don't want to mess with the camera like it always does. Our protagonist from the first film, Alice, played by Adrienne King, has been dealing with post-traumatic stress syndrome due to what happened to her during the events of the first movie. And, well, she's having nightmares. Her parents are concerned about her. She's blowing her parents off. The phone rings. She answers it. She goes, takes a shower. The phone rings while it's in the shower. She answers it where there's absolutely no response on their end. Then the cat startles her. Her cat comes in from outside. Then she opens up the fridge to get the cat something to eat to see Pamela Voorhees' head in the refrigerator. And then Jason takes the screwdriver and pounds it right through her skull and kills her. Then the film takes place 5 years later, in which a camp training center that's located near Camp Crystal Lake is having new recruits, as well as recurring recruits, arriving to be trained for camp counseling by the instructor, whose name is Paul, and his girlfriend, Jenny, who's our main protagonist in the movie. Well, they tell him that Camp Crystal Lake is off limits. And there's an urban legend that goes around saying that Jason did not actually drown. He survived his near-death experience, and instead of going back to civilization, he decided to live off of the land in the wilderness, feeding on live animals and dead animals, and grew up that way, and is a demented sort of like man-beast that wanders through the campgrounds. Well, the urban legend's actually true, because that's actually what happened. That's pretty much where Jason's been all this time. He didn't drown. He became pretty much sort of like a Sasquatch, fucking, creepy woodsman or some stuff like that. But yeah. So when some of the trainees disobey the rules and go towards the campground, Camp Crystal Lake, in which is forbidden, Jason discovers them, and he starts killing off all of the counselors one by one. Some go out to a party, and then when they return, there's only like 3 people left. Everyone else has been killed. Like I said, very innovative deaths in this movie. They put a lot of thought into how Jason kills in this film. Our main protagonist, Jenny, has expert training in psychology, and so she finds a way to manipulate Jason into thinking that she's his mom in order to get the upper hand on him and take him down. Doesn't work, but with a little help of her boyfriend Paul, who we believed was dead, comes back to the rescue. She does finally get to take a machete and go through the bone. Now, a lot of people at this point think that Jason actually got stabbed in the heart. Got sliced in the heart. Well, believe it or not, people, the heart is not right here. The heart's actually more about here. So no, he didn't. I keep trying to tell everybody that, at least all my friends, that the first 4 Friday the 13th films take place over the course of 4 days. It is all natural and realistic. Jason's not supernatural at all in the first 4 films. Actually, take it back. The second, third, and fourth film takes place over the course of 3 days. And Jason's completely mortal the entire time. What eventually kills him in the 4th movie is he's been beat up and taken a lot of damage that eventually, when Corey Feldman's character does hack him to death with a machete, he's just simply had enough and dies. All natural, people. And of course, by the end of the movie, there's a jump scare, climax. They think they defeated Jason. They go back to the cabin, all safe and sound. The door knocks. They think it's him. It turns out to be the dog. Although I'm pretty sure it was him. He made the noise at the door. The dog was over there, and he made his way around to the back part of the room and jumped through the window. But I don't know how. But yeah, everything is all fine. All the dogs there, all cute. Then burst right through the window and grabs Jenny, and completely unmasked at this point. The potato sack's not on his head, so you see how scary Jason really looks. And this time there's actually with like a lot of hair and stuff. Because this doesn't get really addressed that much in the first movie. It gets kind of teased a little bit with the second. Jason's a mongoloid, which means his shape of his head is different. The placement of his eyes is more uneven like that. Teeth kind of shows out right. So he's sort of like Elephant Man mongoloid. So that's why in a lot of ways it's only friend with his mom, and why he puts mama's voice so much, because he's a mongoloid. People don't like mongoloids. People are freaked out for him. They kind of call them, circus freaks and stuff. But yeah. And then of course we never know what happens to Paul, because that's what we left to our imagination, and we see as Ginny being dragged away on a stretcher after Nightmare's over. And that's pretty much how the movie ends. Now, audio and video quality. Well, the video is pretty much about the same as the first movie, but there is one little difference. This film is darker color templated than the first movie, which means that you won't have as much brightness with the movie as you did with the first film. It's still quite bright. It's still very much like a 1980s movie, but it's not so brightly lit as the first movie. It actually has a bit more of a dark atmosphere. But that's about the only difference. Audio. Big payoff on audio in this one. Much like the first film, but the difference is, rather than it being slight surrounding in the surround channels, is very surrounding. There's a lot of stuff going on in the surround mixes, going well in hand with the stereo mixes in the mono mix. The sub actually has a lot to go on in this movie, which is surprising because it didn't really have a lot going on with the first one. So overall, yeah, this is a big improvement over the first film, sound-wise. And of course, it's a 5.1 Dolby True HD source track. So that's how that is. Well, that's my thoughts on Friday the 13th, Part 2, from 1981. Now, people who've been following probably are asking, why did you review this movie first? Well, it's because 1981 release. Friday the 13th was released in summer of 1981, while Halloween 2 was released in fall of 1981. So if you do it by release date, you would have to watch Friday the 13th Part 2 first, and then Halloween 2. Which I'll be reviewing in the next couple of minutes, I might add. Well, I'll see you guys then for my review of Halloween 2.